Today is the last day of the third edition of the Ignite Your Video Lifestyle Success Series. I am your host, Monique Johnson, if you don't know by now, especially if you haven't seen all of the amazing guests that we've had thus far this week. Very unique guests, very unique opinions, angles, etc., on utilizing video. And the whole intention of this success series is to get business veterans, as I call them, slash experts who've been in business for many years, but ultimately they use this amazing medium that you're watching right now, video, in order to build, grow, and include exposure for their business. And so the guests that we have today, because today's a special day and I said we're going to end it with a bang, is because we have two guests. Our very first one is Brent Leary, who's a good friend of mine. We're both located here in Atlanta, Georgia. And this is his second time appearing on this summit series. So if you guys did not have an opportunity to see him in the last edition, you definitely missed out, because we talked about all things LinkedIn video, and his personal experience with LinkedIn video, and how it's just an amazing place to put video up if you want organic views and things like that, and how just this whole story where people started approaching him, etc., etc. But what Brent is known to be, in which I'll have him introduce himself in just a moment, is he knows a lot about CRM, in which we're going to have him define that, just in case if you guys don't know what that means. And so for the longest, I wanted to interview Brent about CRMs, and then also how to integrate it together with video, especially when it comes to tracking, prospecting, and ultimately getting the sale, or as Liz said earlier this week, securing the bag. So without further ado, I'm really, really excited to have Brent on for the second time. And so welcome, Brent.
Very first time before like noon.
Yeah, that too. This is the morning edition. You're right. This is the morning edition version. So you guys let me know if you like having this in the morning. So I'll be drinking this in the meantime, in between time, if you guys are just wondering.
I thought this was just going to be called the Mo Show.
Oh no, 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 no,
No,
no. It's all about
the show
you,
with
Brent.
Mo. I mean, okay.
So Brent, for those who have no idea who you are, please let us know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I was born the son of a sharecropper. No, I actually wasn't. No. That's supposed to be a joke. It is the morning, folks. It's trying to get things going. All right. No, I've been doing customer relationship management. Wow, for the better part of 2 decades. That's what CRM stands for, is customer relationship management. So I work a lot. I talk a lot about how folks can find, catch, and keep their customers in a kind of a systematic way, and how you can use software and automation to help do that. And I worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers before I kind of went out on my own. And for the last 17 years, I think it's actually 17 years this last month, that I've been doing the independent CRM analyst kind of work, and working with companies like Salesforce and Zoho and Microsoft and a bunch of others, kind of, talking about CRM, writing content, presenting at conferences, doing some strategic advisory work, doing some primary research all around kind of CRM-ish kind of topics. So yeah, I've written for Black Enterprise. I've written for Inc. I've written for ZDNet, CRM Magazine, and also last couple of years I've been the chair for the CRM Magazine's annual event called CRM Evolution. But unfortunately, with all this going on right now, don't know if that one's going to happen this year. So
All right, I love it. Wow, 17 years. That's a very long time.
yeah, that's great.
That's
See,
amazing. And thank you so much for sharing with us, your journey. Well, at least what you've accomplished thus far. And so, with that said, before we even talk even more about it, because this topic is going to be about your expertise with CRMs, um, Why do you use video in your business, Brent? And why should someone consider doing so in their business?
So when I think about business and I think about kind of what everybody is trying to do, is they're trying to find, catch, and keep good customers, and they're trying to do it in an efficient and an effective way, efficient in terms of time and money. And it's getting harder and harder to get people's attention long enough to turn a single interaction into a customer, into a long lasting customer, into a customer that brings you business as a partner and an advocate. And so it gets harder and harder to do that, and you have to be able to have a systematic way of doing it once you've kind of perfected the process. So if you've gone through all the blood, sweat, and tears of finding a potential prospect, and trying to get their attention and trying to interact with them, and then trying to get enough interactions together so that you can ask for what do you call it, secure the bag.
Yeah, secure the bag. Shout out to Liz Simpson for that.
Yeah, secure the bag of cash. That's what you do, because you don't want no empty bags. You
Right.
want a bag of cash. So you got to do a lot of stuff. And there are a lot of parts and components and, back and forth. And so you don't want to go through all of that and then get the business and then, don't really have an easier way to do it the next time around, or you spend all your time trying to get new business that you don't take care of your current customers, and so they leave you, and that's like the worst. Because if you spent like x amount of time, x amount of dollars bringing a customer on board, and then you ignore them once they're on board to the point where they don't really care about me. All I was to them was an initial transaction. Now they're worrying about all these new people, and I'm like, hey, I'm over here,
Mhm.
and you don't have a plan in place to not only go for new business but also keep the customers you have happy. Then you're not going to be in business too long, because you can never get out of that cycle. So CRM, it's like I said, it's called customer relationship management, but it's a strategy. It's a bunch of processes. It's the way that you interact and bring new business on and keep new business. And then you have CRM applications that help you implement that strategy.
Mhm.
And when you have a good strategy and you implement it in a good technology, it allows you to scale your capabilities to bring on new customers while you service the customers you have and keep them happy. And that's what it's all about.
All right. I love it. I love it. So, based on what you just answered, okay, can you just share with us briefly how you're currently using video? And then we're going to transition to putting the both CRM and the video together. So, just right now, can you share with us how you are currently using video in your business?
So to me, we're all in this thing we call it the attention economy, the attention business.
That's by your
Everybody,
boy that not necessarily a big fan of. You know who that is. Starts with a
well,
G.
I wrote, and you can go back. This is like 11 years ago. I wrote for Inc. magazine, and I wrote something on the attention economy,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that was before whatever. Anyway, so but it's really important. Matter of fact, I wrote that after going to Adobe's summit years ago and hearing one of their keynote presentations talk about how we're now in the millisecond economy. We don't have minutes, we don't have hours, we definitely don't have weeks to grab somebody's attention and then try to transform that little second of attention into a full-blown paying customer relationship. So attention is at the forefront, and we all know that there are so many things pulling at our individual attention spans that you know it's just hard to get and keep that attention long enough to do all that transformational stuff. But one thing that is allowing us to spark that attention and have a better opportunity to keep it long enough to build a full-blown relationship, it's video. If you're able to do it doesn't have to be a long video. Matter of fact, it probably shouldn't be a long video. But if you're able to just put together a couple of seconds, a minute, 2 minutes of targeted, meaningful uh, uh, content that comes through and allows somebody to quickly say, "Yeah, I need to know more about that. I need to figure out where I go from there."
Hmm.
Uh, then you have an opportunity to do all these things like build that relationship, have more interactions, transition from a lead to an opportunity to a closed deal to a client to a long lasting client to a client that actually goes and brings you business. That takes time,
Hmm.
and so you have to get the attention long enough to get to certain, cross certain of those paths. And video to me is over the last, I've been, I guess, doing this using video at least a couple of years now, because I find it allows me to scale my opportunities to interact with folks. It allows me to kind of build a relationship because if you if you invite somebody on like what we're doing here, you've got my attention for an hour right now. So you have the opportunity to say something that sticks with me, that makes me think, that makes me want to do something because we're interacting and this video is now going to be seen by people who know you.
Hmm.
So it's like attention exponentially kind of done here. So I started doing this um, because I wanted to build relationships with people in the industry. And if I was able to have a really good conversation with those folks and they like the conversation, not just me liking it, but it's important that they like the conversation, that once we're done and I could post this and I could say, hey, thank you for this great conversation. By the way, it's up now.
Yeah.
And if they like it, guess what? A couple of things happen. They're going to tell other people, "Hey, I just had this great interview. You might want to check it out." The other thing it's going to do is they're going to say, "Hey, let's talk some more." I really like some of the things that came out of that conversation. Let's do a follow up. And then what does that mean? Attention. That means I've got their attention. That means I have another opportunity to deepen this relationship, to move it a little further, because right now I'm just at the infancy stage. I want to get to the they're calling me for business stage, but the attention that video allows you to get kind of quickly and kind of efficiently from a time perspective. I didn't have to write a 2,000 word post. I have to sit there and try to think of something witty to say.
Right.
I'm able to do that so much more efficiently that video allows me to do that whole thing around building attention, grabbing enough attention, building interactions, transitioning from a stranger to somebody who could be a customer in a much more efficient way. And I can then use it to do it over and over again. Like I said before, doing it once ain't enough. You got to
Right.
figure out a way to do it and automate it and make it work for you. So video is a really good part of that for me.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And in fact, those of you guys who are watching this, like, to me, and Brent, you can chime in here. A lot of people have fear of being on camera or just thinking like it has to be something perfect, or they get just deer in headlights. They don't know what they want to include in it, et cetera, et cetera. And what Brent just described to you all is he just conducted interviews. So he would conduct interviews. He would just set up a camera. It'd be totally conversational, just like what we're having right now. And he would just interview someone. And at the time, at least the ones that I started paying attention to that Brent started doing was, he'd go to live events or conferences, or maybe he happens to be somewhere that's at the same time as the expert that he wants to interview. And so he sets it up to where they have an interview. And it's totally conversational, and it's just a show. It's simple show format, and it's just a matter of Brent just interviewing the person. Like, you don't have to worry so much about a script. You don't have to worry about it being too complicated. You literally can get started with the phone. And at the time, Brent was using the Mevo camera, if you guys are familiar with that. But other than that, that's it. And so you guys, you could just make it really, really simple. And with that said, Brent, what would you say would be the easiest way to get started? Even though you kind of pretty much told us, but like someone who's totally, starting from scratch, what would you suggest are like the first 2 to 3 things that they need to do to get started with video?
Well, so for me, it's, being making sure you know what you want to do and what you want to say and
Hmm.
what you want to cover before. Oh, did we just go? Looks like I'm stuck.
Oh,
I don't know if I'm still with you there.
on.
I know I'm tired, but like sitting up.
Let's see.
But you can hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you all right. So
I can just
hopefully,
keep I
yeah,
can keep going until I wake up. I
yep,
mean, I
you could
don't
do
know.
that.
I'm in deep thought. I'm thinking what I want to say.
Oh
Uh,
goodness.
no, but so yeah, so going back to just, the couple of things that get started, just knowing what you want to talk about, with who you want to talk about, what you want to cover, and make sure when you do have that opportunity to you know, connect with that person, it may only be a couple of minutes that you have. You got to
Hmm.
make those couple of minutes count. And you want to make sure that you hit them with something that is going to, you want to give a thought, a question that's going to make them think a little bit, because that will also make them remember you too. And I think that's the really, if you're trying to build a relationship, you don't just want to ask them a softball question. Or what is it like to be you? No, you don't want to do that. If you only have a couple of minutes, you want to hit them with something that's going to make them remember you. A good question, something that's going to make them think, wow, I hadn't looked at it from that perspective, but and then they go into it. And then after the fact, they're like, that was a really great question. Thanks. Yeah, it really made me think. And then you can go in for the, well, I would love to follow up on that. So you want to make sure you have all of that, mapped out. And then you want to make sure, Monique, of course, she knows this, but you want to make sure that if you're doing video, you want to have good audio. You
Yeah.
don't want to have some jacked up sounding nonsense, because ain't nobody gonna. I don't care how pristine the image is. I mean, you're looking at me right now, and I'm still in freeze frame, looking like I'm sleeping, but the sound of
and
the
and
audio
yeah, when
is
you're
good.
done with this question, Brent, we'll sign off and sign you back on Skype. I think Skype is just acting wonky. But go
Oh, that's
ahead.
okay. I was just gonna say but you're still listening because the
Right.
voice, the audio quality is good. So even though I'm sleeping right now, you hear me and I sound really good.
Yep. Yep. All right. So, let's Brent, I'm going to hang up on you on Skype and then we're going to bring you right back in. And guys, stay tuned with us. This is just the life of live video. So, we'll be right back.
I'll wake.
All right, so yeah, as we're gonna bring Brent back in, hopefully you guys are getting what he's saying, because it's imperative, especially with audio. In my honest opinion, audio makes or breaks video. All right, so with that said, let's get Brent back up in here, and we're calling him on cue. Have him come up on here. All right, he's back, guys. He is back. He was frozen. I don't know. Somebody gave him a shot of something and he had to freeze. Now he's up and just awake now.
I'm awake.
All right, so thank you so much for answering that. I mean, guys, and the thing is, like, as Brent, you could chime in here. As you do more and more of this, you get better. It's just practice. You just got to put the work in. And then eventually, something starts to happen on the back end too, in my opinion, because when people see, Brent, that you're consistent with this in these interviews, it's kind of like, oh, Brent's coming. I want him to interview me. Or, oh, Brent's coming. Let's, do something. Or maybe it's easier for you to get the foot in the door to interview a higher level type of person, because word around the internet streets is that Brent does interviews and he does them really well. Wouldn't you say?
Well, thank you. I'll say thank you for saying that last part. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's funny. I don't know how things are gonna look after we get through this current crisis, but like last year, I went to about, I don't know, like 25 events, and it's industry events. So these are CRM industry events for me. and some of them can be extremely large. Like Salesforce has a conference called Dreamforce, and last year I believe they had about 171,000 people at that thing. They took over the whole city of San Francisco. It's been like that for like I've been going. I think that was my 10th one, and I the first one I went to 2,500 last year, 170 something thousand. So I go to a lot of events. I sometimes I speak at them, sometimes I moderate panels, sometimes I just go as an analyst. And interesting as the year progressed, and because I really started doing LinkedIn video. I started uploading natively probably middle 2019, and then I got on LinkedIn Live, and I noticed a serious uplift in interest when I went on LinkedIn Live. And as I was going to these events, I would go and see people, and they'd be like, "Hey, man, I've been checking out your videos on LinkedIn, man. You're really doing it up." Like, really? You're paying attention to that? I mean, I had no idea.
Right.
And more I would go, people would be like, "Yeah, yeah, hey, you want to interview me for your LinkedIn thing?" I'm like, really? Yeah, sure. But I had no idea of the reach, and when you focus on like the B2B market, I'm mostly it was my my customer base are companies, and mostly technology companies. But so the most people pay attention from a LinkedIn perspective more than they do from a Facebook Live perspective for me, because my audience is more B2B. And so when I started putting more of these videos, natively uploading to LinkedIn and then eventually doing LinkedIn Live, it was a big shift, to the point where things that I was doing just for free, all of a sudden I was actually getting asked people asking me, how much would you charge to come here and do videos from this conference. And I was like, let me get back to you on that one. You gonna pay me? Yeah, I'll get back to you on that. So yeah, and then and that kind of morphed into me doing a show I do with my one of my real close buddies, Paul Greenberg, called the CRM Players. And we last year, I think we did about 4 engagements where we do a show, and we started doing them from these conferences, and they would have us interview their executives, their customers, their partners, and we have a pretty relaxed style. So people seem to like that we talk about industry related stuff, but we kind of have fun with it. And so yeah, all of a sudden we started getting paid engagements to do that. And then, as Monique knows, I do another show called Watching Amazon with another buddy of mine,
John
John Lawson.
Lawson.
Yeah, or let me say, the cold one, the bold one, John Colder Ice Lawson.
Yeah, let's go, John.
And we started off as a more of an audio podcast, going back and forth on our opinions on what was going on with Amazon over the course of a week, and then we switched that over to video. And so we've been doing video for years, but then as a result of what's going on with the pandemic, and everybody is staying at home, sheltering in place now, because of LinkedIn Live, and actually because I started using a service called StreamYard, and that allows me to have, I think I have the level where I can do 5 simultaneous streams, including LinkedIn Live, and LinkedIn Live is still in beta, and unfortunately not everybody can get access to it. I was fortunate enough to get access to it last year, and so StreamYard allows me not only to do a LinkedIn live stream, but simultaneously I can do Facebook Live, I can do Periscope, I could do YouTube, and you can actually do like a Facebook page
Hmm.
stream, a Facebook profile
Yep.
stream, different YouTube channels, uh, LinkedIn, and Periscope. And so I guess starting a couple of weeks ago, after you kind of figured out this may be the new normal for a while, because we're not going to be able to travel and go to events, and we're sort of stuck at home. So we decided, to start doing regular shows. So I do a regular show on Wednesdays with John Colder Lawson with Watching Amazon, where I have to school him constantly. He just doesn't know a thing. And then on Thursdays, I do a CRM Players show with Paul Greenberg. And then Fridays, we started this last week, we're doing what we call CRM Players Sports. And so we're actually talking about CRM stuff, but with sports teams and a sports theme. We have a lot of connections with folks in the NBA and NFL, and it's so because we're at home and we're kind of stuck at least for the foreseeable future. I just said, why don't I just try to do regular programming? So
Mm-hmm.
we do that, and then I also do my weekly one-on-one conversation series with small business trends. And so, yeah, I think I stream at least 3 or 4 times a week now.
That is awesome and amazing. And in fact, that's something your boy preaches too, starts with a G, as far as having shows. And I think it's more, I mean, he's been preaching this way before, what's going on right now. But
Yeah.
if you put into practice like you have, Brent, like this is easy for you, and it's able for you to scale and make yourself gain more exposure for yourself much easier and quicker than someone who's starting from scratch, right? And so yeah, I think it's gonna be a while. Even let's just say things do go back to normal, it's still gonna be a transition. And even then, like shout out to Lamar Tyler, who's also located here. He created an interesting post the other day where he was like, I don't know what's going on with the local business, the local news, but I'm able to produce live streams and shows that look a whole lot better than what they're producing. And it's true. Like, I think, some places they've finally caught up, because even at one point, like some ESPN shows or Fox sports shows, you're like, you guys have the big bucks. Like, you should be able to figure this out quite easily. And I'm like, I can do this so, like that. And I think also for the bigger corporations, it's a transition. And for some, like I'm even seeing NBA players like Kevin Durant and stuff, they're using StreamYard. Like people, like our world, Brent, that we're so familiar with for the past however many years is like being opened up to the whole world, right? As far as like the tools and the things that are being utilized, Zoom, right? I was so shocked that people, I don't know, I just consider Zoom to be something that is easy and that, I don't know, I assume everybody knew about it, but ever since what has happened, it's like, what is this new thing? And I'm like, really? Like, I've been on here since, I don't know, 2014, 15. I don't even know when it started, but I've been on here for a while as far as Zoom. So I'm glad that you're talking about this, and I hope you guys are seeing that and all he's doing as far as Brent is like, side by side, like you see here. If you have more than one guest, you can do three and stuff. Like the software I'm using right now is called Ecamm Live. It's only for Mac users though, and it's not browser based like StreamYard. I'm definitely a huge fan of StreamYard for the simplicity of it and the accessibility to it, because it's browser based. It's not something where you have to download to your computer, or it's something where it's like, oh, only Mac users or PC. And if you guys are wondering, another great one is OBS, which has a
Yeah.
learning curve, but it's for free. And they recently did a major upgrade, and it's like you could do full out TV productions on that thing. You just got to
Hey.
know how to use it, right?
Yeah,
So
I'm actually getting ready to start using that because I'm going to start like everybody else apparently that has DJ equipment. I'm gonna
yeah,
start doing some live DJing. So using OBS, and because that allows you to connect, not only your video but real audio with
exactly.
your
Yeah,
so you can it's not like you have to point your microphone to your speaker.
right,
It'll
right.
actually use a digital audio interface and bring in
It's
that
powerful.
serious sound quality right from your mixer to your computer into OBS.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with that too.
Yeah, and actually, because I honestly, I first got started with OBS, and I drifted away from it because it was a lot of bells and whistles and things like that. And also, I'm looking to go back to it because I love how, like you said, the audio is key. And what I plan on doing, if you guys just want to know, is like doing live calls where people can come in on a Zoom room and have the Zoom come in with the audio and everything. Of course, you got to have certain tools to make it happen, but have it go into a mixer, or there's a great tool. It's only for Mac. Sorry, guys, called Loopback, so that you don't have that echo sound. But there's other tools and software that you can utilize if you don't have like a big time mixer set up.
So
But
well, I got to. So I'm going to turn the tables. I'm going to ask you a question because
sure,
you.
go ahead, because I'm like, I know
So,
we're kind of geeking out here, but you know.
so are you then able to stream Zoom, live stream Zoom if you're able to push your Zoom uh, connection into OBS?
Yes. So, okay. First things first, before I even say that, within the Zoom platform itself, you can live stream to Facebook or any streaming platform. You just got to have what you call the stream key and the RTMP
Oh,
URL.
okay.
Without being geeky with that, you can, Zoom allows you to do that.
Ah,
However, yeah, you
uh-oh.
could do it directly within the platform. And before, it used to be you had to have the webinar level.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Not anymore. If you're just paying it's not available for the free ones. So I'm just gonna say that. But if you're paying the minimum $14.99 a month, you can live stream your meetings directly through the Zoom application online.
Okay.
You could do it now. So they've opened that up for a few months now, before this whole thing
Nice.
happened. Yeah. So I love that. So just to let you guys know, you can just do it that way. However, as far as like, for me, I want to have graphics. Like you see, I got the graphics up on here and
Oh,
stuff. I want
yeah.
to create like an experience, like a show. You can't do that. All with Zoom is what you see is what you get. You'll see the Zoom logo, etc. Like I'll be able to use OBS to
Right.
cut out the picture enough so you don't see that it's Zoom, and have the audio and everything and live stream it. So yes, to answer your question.
That's really cool because the other thing that we started doing is we use Zoom
Hmm.
and for CRM players, and we started doing we call them like we call it the happy hour or
Yeah.
somebody said magic hour. I don't know. So anyway, so we're using Zoom, and we kind of put out a calling and said, hey, we're gonna, we're all kind of getting a little cabin fever in here, and so me and Paul decided, why don't we just see if there's any interest in people wanting to get together for a happy hour. We'll see. We got Zoom. We'll see how many people. We'll try to put 15 people on at a time. We'll cap it there because it maybe get a little harder and have happy hour conversations with more than that. And we just put a little thing out there, said, hey, who's interested in this? And we're like, 100 people later, said, hey, yeah, we'd love to do that. So we
Nice.
we said we'll do them once a week, and we'll have a cap at 20 at 15,
Hmm.
and we put something out on Eventbrite and say, hey, we're all the weeks that we're gonna have them. If you want to sign up, we first 15 sign up, and I think we're already got full sign up for the first month or
Where do
so.
you post this link?
We have a CRM Players Facebook page,
Okay.
and we do it on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And so yeah, so we did our first one yesterday.
All right.
It was really good. It was actually, yeah, it was. I think it was yesterday. It was really good. But now that I know, we could actually stream it instead of just put it on Zoom. Well, maybe I have to try that out.
I would say most definitely do that. Yeah, it's very simple. You just go in the settings. I mean, if we had the time, I would share my screen right now and just show you. It's so easy. And it's just a matter of you just got to get. Well, actually, they give you two options just to let you guys know, and we'll geek out, and then we'll move on from here real quick. You can go directly to Facebook, so they'll have you link up your Facebook page or wherever you want it to go. And if I'm not mistaken, YouTube. Don't quote me on that, but I know for a fact Facebook. And then there's the option of a customized streaming. So, like for me, what I've done is I've gone live directly through Zoom to a scheduled live stream ahead of time. So, I like to schedule it ahead of time. So that's
Right.
when you can't just, if you go onto Zoom and you have a scheduled live stream and you don't link it up, it'll just create a new post, a new post or whatnot that's totally separate. And if you already started pushing people to the scheduled post and they have to get reminder, they're not going to get notified that you went live, if that makes
Right.
sense. So,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
this is good to know.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking more like the OBS thing might be kind of interesting to try out.
Yeah, you got to finagle with it and stuff like that, but OBS is freaking powerful, guys. And it's for free. And I'm noticing people that I follow online from even gamers or just business people like us who started off with the Wirecast, the premium stuff, and they've all, I don't want to say downgrade, they've switched over to OBS and they're not paying anything.
I literally just I'm not kidding. Literally, I just downloaded the new version of it. I think it's like version 24 or something because I hadn't looked at it in a while. Last night, this morning, it was like 2 in the morning because
Yeah.
I was playing around with the DJ and stuff, and I was watching all these YouTube videos of guys. I mean, the thing, this is so interesting that how behaviors are changing
Mm-hmm.
because of shelter in place. If you want to see, there's several different industries that have been tremendously impacted,
Sure.
you know, but taking that aside, DJing has, because you
DJ
go to a
Nice, hello.
yeah. So I mean, DJs, you're usually doing your thing in front of huge audiences, and of course they're all crowded together. So who knows what that's going to look like after we get through this? But in the meantime, you look at what's going on with DJ, and maybe DJ Nice is the poster child for that. So all of a sudden, DJs all around the world are live streaming,
Yep.
and to the point where you can't. I think part of the bandwidth problem is streaming DJs because there's so many of us starting to do that, and
Mm-hmm.
like certain kinds of devices are running out of stock, like iRig Stream. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
Or
that
any okay, so what Brent is talking about, and this is why I love Ecamm Live so much. If you guys are wondering like why my picture is so clear, is I have a DSLR and I can plug it directly into my computer and I don't need what you call a capture card. If you go on Amazon right now, like you can't get the typical capture cards anymore. You have to get like the no-name knockoffs, and even then normally those are coming from like Asian countries, so you're not going to get that thing for a while. Yeah. So that's like, is that the Magwell? Yeah, that's the
yeah, I got the
Magwell
Mac.
one. That's another popular one. It's $200. But guys, if you go online, which I plan to do this, I need one for myself, is I can only get this done if I have Ecamm Live. You want a capture card, guys, just as a secret or a hack, if you want to have this nice pristine look on as your webcam no matter what platform you're on. So Zoom, Skype, whatever, or even just live streaming directly to YouTube, Facebook within the platform. What the capture card does is it automatically picks up your camera and uses it as a webcam instead. So guys, because we don't know how long this is going to be, and I think this is great, hence why I use Ecamm. And then Brent mentioned StreamYard. If you have a capture card, you can have a more professional camera look if you want to utilize that versus just using your webcam.
Yeah.
So I know we geeked out a lot here, but this is why I love having these conversations. So let's reel it back in. So let's talk about CRMs, Customer Relationship Management Tool. Okay. And I'm going to be selfish here because I'm going to ask questions because I want to know these things. Um, you know, I would say like the online entrepreneur, especially when you're at a certain part in your business, don't necessarily see the value in using this tool. It's not until when you scale to, let's just say, multiple six figures on up that I see peers and colleagues utilizing a CRM. So with that said, Brent, like, how do you get started with a CRM? And then for the sake of time, how can we use Like, for instance, let's talk about LinkedIn. I put a video up on LinkedIn or I go live on LinkedIn and people are leaving comments, and let's just say someone seems to be really interested. Do you think like I could use a CRM tool as a follow-up to those who are engaging with my content online, specifically with video?
Yeah. So the thing about CRM is, 5, 10 years ago, longer, eh, for me, much longer, it was more of a tool that was meant for, well, at least from a pricing standpoint, for bigger companies. And a lot of small businesses who definitely were in need for being able to have something that helped them manage their contact lists or manage their their deals, or just manage interactions that they were having with customers. um, it's always been a need for that. And small businesses, they do grow up to become big businesses if they have enough of of the right business model and the right processes in place to help them scale that. So there's always been a need for it. The issue was a lot of times, the software was really just built for bigger companies, and who had, and they could afford to to pay bigger amounts of money for this. But over the last several years, you have software that is built specifically, CRM software built specifically with the needs of the small business in mind. So not very heavy on the meat and potato needs. Not a whole bunch of bells and whistles and features that you'll never use. And it was built with on the cloud. So once again, because traditionally software was something you had to install on your
Right.
hardware,
Yeah.
and you had to kind of be some sort of a tech geek in order to not only install it or to use it. You have to install it and keep it up, and put the
And it takes up
upgrades on.
space on your
Took up
computer.
space. Yeah, and if your hard drive crashed and your data was gone because you weren't backing it up.
Oh yeah.
So all those things that you had to do to really use it, beyond just being able to use it, no small business wanted to do all that stuff.
Sure.
So the cloud came around. You didn't have to worry about maintaining and updating and installing. You just really just had to you have a browser and use it. That really was a big uplift for adoption from a small business perspective. Also, you didn't have to have a big lump sum payment, just to
Okay.
be able to
Yeah.
get it. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you have services. Some of these services are free. Some of them are very low cost. I mean, for example, like a couple that I know, and Zoho is one that they've created a great value prop for small businesses, because you can literally use it for like a couple of bucks a month or something. You get some really good stuff. Salesforce has Salesforce Essentials. They have
HubSpot
really,
has a very nice general one too to get
well,
started.
HubSpot has a free one that's
Yeah.
nice to get going. But I mean, there are tons and tons of options out there for SMBs now to start using it, and it's important for you to start using it because, like I said, if you're able to have a place where you can put your information and you can automate processes. So, for example, you were talking about somebody comes to your website and they may be interested in having a follow up. So they go and fill out a form on your website. And then they're putting their name in, they're putting their email address and all that stuff. Yeah, it's okay if it goes into like a list builder or some kind of a email marketing application. But with these modern CRM applications, not only would it, you can hit put a form up, they hit submit the form, it goes into your CRM application, and then you might have some automated processes that kick off that say, oh, okay, these guys are in this industry, they have this level of revenue, they are in this region. Based on that, then we can send out a much more personalized
Mm-hmm.
automated response, and we can ship that lead over to the person internally who's handling. Chances are it's going to be you, but if you have more than one person in there, that could happen. but the key is the data gets into the system without you having to do a whole
It's
bunch
all
of stuff.
automated. Yeah.
Right. And that's what you want to do, because if you do start doing a lot of videos and you start getting out there and you're building an audience, that means more people are going to be looking at it. It means potentially more people wanting to submit a request form for
Sure.
more information. And that's how you're able to handle the scale once it happens. And that's what we're looking
Got it.
want to be able to scale our content generation efforts, because hopefully those content generation efforts turn into lead generation efforts, and we want those leads coming in a way that we can handle them and we don't lose them, because most times what happens with small businesses is that they may get a lot of a decent amount of leads in, and then what happens to those leads when they come in? Nothing. They don't do anything
Nothing.
with it.
You're right.
That's what happens where you're always, I hear it a lot from small business. I can't get any leads. I don't know what to do. What can I do to get leads? And then I take a look and I'm like, look, it looks like you have some stuff here. What's going on with that? Oh, I'm they haven't done anything with the lead. So they couldn't even tell me if it was a good or a bad lead, because they hadn't really followed up on it. And so this is where CRM comes into play, because you can create automated processes that you don't become the bottleneck.
Mm.
The system handles it. And that's what you want. And so that's why CRM, I don't care what size business you are at this point, you should be able to find an application, a monthly subscribable service that you can afford, that will help you manage some of these things. Because if you don't have a system to do it, chances are it ain't going to get done, because you're not going to do it.
Shots fired. I love that.
Yeah.
We got to let the DJ part of Brent come out here in a second. No, but I appreciate you for saying it and approaching it at the angle that you said, because a couple things came to mind when you said it. You know, majority of what we talked about, Brent and I have talked about for this particular conversation, is that everybody's at home. And my strong emphasis is like, guys, you're not going to get this attention ever again. You will not get this attention ever again. Let's just say, God forbid, this does happen again, we'll be better prepared. But the mere fact that we were literally hit, like splash, water was splashing in our faces with this whole pandemic, as you will, and people just all of a sudden being forced to work at home, to be at home, to just be there, be bored, wanting to be entertained, or finally figuring out, hey, I have all this time now. I no longer have an excuse to not get things done, or to watch things that I've always wanted to watch, or to absorb information. You will not get this attention ever again. So if you are utilizing, and this is why I had you come on, Brent, is if you're utilizing a tool like CRM, like it'll make it easy for you to absorb all this attention that's coming in. Like you said, to make it easier to scale, well, maybe you'll end up scaling from day one, because it's so much easier to get attention. Like that's the thing about video, or specifically with me, live video. People are so vain. I'm talking to you guys who complain about, oh, I only had one person show up to my live stream today. This thing doesn't work, right? And I'm like, okay, you're making it more about yourself than the information that you need to absorb out there. You no longer have that as an excuse anymore. Or I just put up a video on YouTube, no one's gonna watch it. You don't have that excuse anymore. The attention economy, or those eyeballs that you guys wanted, guess what? You have it. So what are you going to do about it? And most importantly, how are you going to be strategic about it? And CRMs is a great way to make that happen. Grant, I don't know, Brent, if for me, I'll say this. Or my personal experience, with YouTube Live, right? There's YouTube Live. I feel that you that's the one platform, like, you gotta have an audience on in order to get people to show up. Okay, Brent, this whole week, I never made like a big announcement on YouTube about this. This whole week that I've gone live, because right now, we're live here on Facebook, and we're also live on YouTube right now simultaneously. I've gotten at least 1 to 2 comments each day. That is unheard of. Any other time that I've gone live on YouTube, I never get comments. I never get views, let alone. But
Mm,
that's lets you know how much traffic is on in front of your computer, is on the wonderful world of the internet. So you'll never get this again. So what are
right.
you going to do about it? And how about let's be strategic about it, like Brent is saying, as far as developing the relationship and using a tool like a CRM to make it happen. So I don't know if you feel the same way, but I had to go on my
Yeah, I
soapbox.
think I think that's why you're seeing. I'll go back to the DJ thing. That's why you're seeing all these DJs buying, trying to set themselves up to live stream, and get better audio quality. I mean, these tools were here before the coronavirus,
Exactly.
but see, the DJs were out in front of audiences. They weren't virtual audience, they were live audiences.
Exactly.
So they didn't need to use OBS to do the live streaming, to get their better audio quality into their stream, because they just didn't need to do it. They were out at the club, but and also they call them the bedroom DJs. They didn't really, they weren't too worried about the audio quality for streaming, because they were just having fun doing this. But all of a sudden, when they saw D Nice, and then they
Mm-hmm.
saw an
Dina.
opportunity to build an audience, like you were just saying, this is the opportunity. So I'm telling you, just do a search on YouTube for how do I live stream my DJ sets,
Boom.
and you'll see all sorts of stuff out there. And I'm talking about, in the last couple of weeks, lots of videos started cropping up, and that's why I know some of these little devices that I want, I can't get because they've been sold out, because there's all these other dudes are buying them. So this pandemic thing is a behavioral change episode
And
for
a
a
huge
number of things
opportunity.
that we're doing
Mm-hmm.
that will be permanent switches. Me and Polar Ice were talking about this the other day.
I was talking about this yesterday. I was like, some of us might not transition back.
Right. Well, there's a broad example of that would be online grocery shopping. Before the pandemic, um, there was a very small percentage of people
Yep.
buying food and having groceries shopped online, because most people are like, "Hey, I just go to the corner store. I don't mind walking. I get it right away."
And I'm bougie. Like I'm like, how I know they're giving me the freshest stuff. Like for me, when I go to grocery store, I don't just go and pick up stuff. Like I gotta check out the stuff, make sure I got
Right.
that fresh stuff.
Right. So even though we could have been doing it all along, the vast majority of us weren't, because we didn't need to, or we didn't want to, because we
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do like you were saying.
Yeah.
But then this thing happens, and we're sheltering in place, and you're not supposed to go out. So what do we have to do? Now more and more people all of a sudden are buying groceries online and having it, brought to their house. And because all of a sudden there's this huge shift, even making Amazon breaking down some, because so
Right.
many people are doing it. But what's going to happen is people who never did it before, for whatever reason they had, now, because they were forced into it through this pandemic, some people are going to be like, you know what? This ain't bad. I don't have to go to the store. I could just order it from here and it comes. This
Yep.
ain't bad. So what's going to happen when after we get through this pandemic? A certain percentage of these people are going to be like, I could go to the store, but I can just order it.
Nah, I'ma just order it online.
Right. So what we're seeing is all sorts of behaviors are going to change permanently
Mm-hmm.
because of this. And as you were saying, and kind of like the DJs, these, the virtual DJs now are seeing an opportunity, the bedroom DJs, I like to call, are seeing an opportunity to build audiences, that they never had before.
Right.
So they're investing in that. And I think those are some lessons that, folks can take out of, how do they leverage this opportunity and use video to start grabbing people's attention that they may not have been able to get before.
Yeah. I couldn't say it better than what you just said, and it's an opportunity, and I just want to say to those who are watching this, why aren't you doing anything? Like, you don't have the excuse. You have the time. You have the eyeballs. You have a phone. If you're living with someone, family, roommate, if you're not living with someone, fine, I'll let you pass on this. But if you're living with someone, they can help you record the content. They can help you set it up. They can help you, I don't know, respond to comments or something. You don't have an excuse, so why aren't you doing it? Seriously, why aren't
Yeah.
you doing it?
This
So,
is time to experiment.
yeah, this is the time to experiment. You're gonna suck when you first start. Let's be frank. Look at my initial live streams, guys. They sucked badly. In fact, one of my very first business live streams caught the attention of Brent, and then we ended up doing like a webinar. But the mere fact that the value was there, Brent looked past the horrible lighting and whatever crap was going on, horrible audio, because it was live video, and I, didn't quite get the audio right and all that other stuff. He approached me to do something else, so, and be also featured in a local magazine here. So it's like, you have nothing to lose, literally. And actually, you are losing by not taking action, more so than
Yeah, I
anything
mean, you
else.
are when you say that, when you put it like that. If you aren't doing anything and a whole bunch of other people start doing
Are,
something, that means you are losing.
yeah. So you might as well just do it. Get the kinks out so that, because we don't know how long we're going to be in this situation. And even, let's just say it happens tomorrow, there's still going to be the transitioning period of going back to normal. Okay? People are going to still be very wary and be like, really, is it safe? Stuff like that. People who are remote workers, I don't feel like going in the office right now. Let's just, wait this out a little bit longer, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
So, all of
and
those things.
yeah, and the people like that do it now when things do go back to normal. You always kind of gravitate towards the people that you've been interacting with the latest, and you've built the connection with the latest. And if you don't make that connection, then chances are you'll never make it, because other people will, and they'll grab the attention. Once again, this is
They've taken
all
your
about
your
attention.
yeah. They've taken your eyeballs that you should have gotten, and by not taking action, oh well, you know. So, we're wrapping it up at the top of the hour here, and Brent, thank you so much for being here. Um, there's so many different tools for CRM and all that other stuff. And even though it's been easier, I still, in my opinion, Brent, like when I open something up like a Zoho or something, I'm still like, whoa. I don't know how to get started. Like it still goes over my head type of thing. And so, first things first, what would you say would be something or some features that someone who's a small business owner or entrepreneur should look at when they are, I guess, shopping or trying different CRM tools for free? And then we'll wrap it up with how can people find you online, because Brent is your CRM guy. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, Brent is your CRM guy. So be sure to contact him like on LinkedIn or something, because he knows his stuff. But let's go to the first part of the question.
So, Small Biz Trends, which is a site, I don't know how many people out there are aware of it, but it's a really great site for small business advice, information resources. I've been doing a lot of things with them over the last decade or so. And last year we did a one poll survey question, and it was, what are your biggest challenges using CRM? And we had over 500 people respond to that. And the top two answers, the top one,
Yep.
I think was like 46% of the people said this was, it's just too hard. It takes too much time to put information into it, to keep it updated, and to find it. So, data,
Mm-hmm.
getting it in, keeping it updated, finding it. Number one. And then number two was, I don't know what value it brings to my business.
Yep.
So I always kind of start with those two, because those are if you get the one done, that helps with the two. So you want to look for systems that make it as easy as possible for you to get information in, keep it updated, and make it easy for you to find the information when you need it the most. Or, as I like to say, a system that actually goes and gets you the information at the time that you need it. And that's where we talk about things like AI and automation. So you want to look for systems that make it easy to import data in or integrates with other systems so that those other systems can automatically move that data in. You want to have it a CRM system makes it easy for your to make sure you have the freshest data in. So things like when somebody's LinkedIn profile gets updated,
Hmm.
it automatically gets updated in your system so
Oh,
that
nice.
keep it
Okay.
up. Yeah, yeah. See, that's those are the things that you really want to look for,
Okay.
because if data isn't in the system, or if good data isn't in the system, nobody's gonna want to use it. And if it's too difficult to get good information in, then nobody is gonna use it. So that's why I say you want to get things that a CRM application that makes it easier for you to import information in, or it integrates with other systems, and then that integration allows for the data to be either imported or updated. And then you want to have a smart CRM system that uses that thing that everybody's talking about now, AI, artificial intelligence,
Right.
so that once that data gets into your system, then the system itself will analyze the data and then will start giving you recommendations for how to use the data. So, for example, a lot of the modern CRM applications now, once you have, let's say, leads coming in to the system, then they're able to analyze those leads and then say to you, like, without you having to look at it every day, these systems will look at the data and say, this person should be contacted right now because of X, Y, and Z. So you may not know that, but the system knows it because it's taking in the data, it's maintaining the data, and it's analyzing the data. So you want a system that does that, because that last part of analyzing the data then becomes notification that you get via maybe an email or via like an app, your mobile app application notification that says, hey, uh Brent, you should contact this person right now. If you do it right now and you send them this this presentation, this PowerPoint deck at this particular time, you have a 70% chance of closing the deal within the next month.
Hmm.
Now, there's a lot of components there. There's getting the data in, there's keeping it updated, there's analyzing it, there's finding the insight, there's notifying you that you have this insight at the right time. If you don't have a system that does that, you are not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even going to know to do it. You're not even going to have the data in there to know to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you want to have a system, and that's a kind of a basic use case. But once again, going back to the biggest challenges: getting information in, updating it, keeping it updated, and finding it in order to do something with it. So the basics of CRM are those three things.
Thank you. Yes, I love it. I love it. And again, those who are wondering, why are we talking about CRM? Is, using the powerful medium of video and having the CRM to hook up to the large audience that we're talking about that you have access to right now. So why not make it a win-win situation for you even more so, because already you're naturally getting organic exposure, but then let's turn it into business. Let's secure the bag, if you will. And as Brent says, meaning actually putting money and cash in it, not an empty bag. Secure the money bag for you. And CRMs is a great way to do that, because it's all about helping you maintain the relationship to those who are watching your videos. So, without further ado, Brent, let us know how people can contact you guys, because seriously, all you got to do is look up his name in CRM or just CRM, and you'll see his name. And he's written so many articles over the years and things like that. But, if people want to, find you out online, and Brent mentioned how he has a few shows that he does now because of the pandemic that's going on. He's taking advantage of the fact that there's so much attention right now. How can people find you online?
Wow, you might have done the best thing. Just say Google Brent Leary because I'm in a lot of different places, and it's kind of hard to list all of the places right now. But Google knows me; they know where I'm at. So that's probably the best way to do it because
Okay.
otherwise we'll be here all day talking.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Brent, for kicking off the last day of the third edition of the Ignite Your Video Lifestyle Success Series. This is actually his second appearance. It happens to be back to back. So kudos to you for
Do
being
I get a
here.
badge, something for that? Do I a cookie?
Yeah,
Something?
yeah. I'll think of something. I'll think of something. But thank you so much for being here. Guys, be sure to tune back here at 2 p.m. Eastern. We have Katrina Nickel, who's going to talk about using video to drive and build Facebook groups. Okay. Facebook groups is a great way to build your community of raving fans, if you will. We've actually talked about raving fans all throughout this week. And creating a community that people are looking to you as the expert or just someone as a facilitator of just amazing people who provide value. Facebook groups is the way to do so. So we will be going live with Katrina later today at 2 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, this is the last day and we're ending it with a bang. So we're having two guests. And so Brent, do you have any last words before we sign off?
Two. Thank you.
You are something else. All right. Well, as Brent says, thank you, those of you guys who are watching us. And I hope to see you soon, more so importantly at 2 p.m. Eastern. All right. Talk to you soon.